Hey guys, I'm Roger Wakefield, leading PV expert plumber, coming to you on YouTube Live. How are you doing today? Man, this has been a fun day. We have actually been working on growing our YouTube channel, our social media, our LinkedIn. Those of y'all that don't know, I'm also over on LinkedIn. I was one of the first 12 people in the world to do LinkedIn Live. Sorry, getting something to drink here while we try to get everything set up and ready and see how it all looks. I get to look down here and see we've got William in here. How are you, sir? Hope everything's going well today. So I do this to talk plumbing, and I see I've already got a thumbs up. I love it. Thank you very much. I do this to talk plumbing, but I get homeowners in here. I get people that want to get into plumbing in here. Man, it's great because I get a good balance of people here. And man, sweet screen, I guess. I can't see. Man, I've got to get a bigger monitor so I can see. Yeah, bring me my glasses, Will. There you go. I normally don't do this, but man, I want to see what I got here. Elevated 1, Zwetschen 2, and William Hendricks. You know what? A sticky subject, man, a smelly subject. That's for daggum sure. And no, as you can see, elevated 1, I don't bite my nails. So how are y'all today? Here's what I like about doing this is I'm making a lot of video content, whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's on YouTube. It really doesn't matter to me where it is. I started out on YouTube, and we started getting asked by LinkedIn if we would do video work there. So we did. So it's been really good. The neat thing about it, to be honest, is I really didn't think that a plumber could do well on LinkedIn. And the good thing about it is we've really done a lot of cool things. We've made some great connections. So, one thing that I want to ask y'all is, what the companies that y'all are working for, what are they doing to make the phone ring? Because advertising works. We know that. The more money you want to send Google every month, the more times they'll make your phone ring, which is really fantastic. But the thing is I always wanted to learn either SEO or social media to help me grow my business that way. And the whole purpose behind it was, say you're doing pay-per-click and you can't make payments one month. And I mean, we've all been in business or worked for companies that have been in business, and sometimes it's hard. But say something happened and you can't make those Google AdWords payments that month, the phone stops ringing. Because when you stop paying, it stops ringing. They don't just keep running your ads, for the fun of it. So I wanted to learn SEO because I wanted my website to get found, but also I wanted to learn social media. And I started with YouTube. Actually, I started with Facebook. Then I started with YouTube. Then I started with LinkedIn. And man, LinkedIn is the one that has really, really surprised me. YouTube is amazing. And I love it because it lets me do things like this, which, believe it or not, I was doing live over on LinkedIn even before I was doing it here. But to do videos and to do live and to build engagement, that's what I love about the social media, is I can actually engage with people, talk to them, and see what's going on. So, okay, Kyle, how are you? Great to have you here, brother. And a home warranty company. Okay, man, that is great. I'm glad you brought that up because I get phone calls a lot from people in the home warranty company business trying to get me in and say, hey, we want you to come in and start doing our work. But I've heard bad things about it. So do me a favor and tell me, how does the home warranty company work for you? And what I mean is, do they keep you very busy? Do they try to cut you down on your price or anything like that? Because I tell people all the time, look, we're not the cheapest plumbing company in the Dallas area. I've never wanted to be. Now, we're not the most expensive either, but I think that we bring extra value for what we do. And when I say we're not cheap, we're not. We're closer to the more expensive than we are to the cheaper. But I still think that we bring extra value because I see what the cheaper companies are doing. I also see what the more expensive companies are doing. That doesn't mean that I want to charge as much as them, but even the more expensive ones, I think we bring as much value. I think that we literally come in, we do a good job, and we bring value to the customer. And we don't try to rip anybody off. I have never wanted to be that kind of plumbing company. And I've actually got rid of plumbers before because I thought that they were. So I love, okay, so see, they cut you down 30%. Most residential trades companies are at a 20% profit margin. So if they cut you down 20%, I mean, if they cut you down 30%, you're already losing money. At least that's what it sounds like to me. Larkins Mechanical, home warranty didn't work for us. They cut us down, and it's a hassle to get authorization for higher fees. You know, authorization can be a pain sometimes. We literally, the first year or two we were in business, we started doing a lot of work for a very large and very reputable property management company. The good thing about it was, man, they kept us busy. I mean, that was probably about a third of my business for a couple of years. Now, the bad thing is when it dies, it dies. When you lose a customer that's managing 400 homes and they realize, hey, you know what? You've got everything where it's in pretty good working order. Now we're going to go back to chucking a truck, the handyman, and let them do stuff. And I don't know that that's the case, but that's kind of what it seemed like, because it got to be where it was always about money. And they don't want to hear that they need a sewer relay. They don't want to hear you need a tunnel under the house. They just want to hear, what can you do to fix it quick and cheap and easy? And sometimes that's not the case. Kyle, could be, but do you think it would be wiser for a guy starting out? If it's just one guy in a truck, very good possibility. And here's why. If you're one guy and you've got your own company and you're answering the phone, you're doing the estimating, you're doing the billing, you're doing the advertising, it's you. You're running the office, you run the truck, you do everything. Now you're looking at more of almost about a 50% profit margin, meaning you've got about 20% for labor. You got about 10% for advertising. You've got 10% for office help. So there's different things to look at in there that now you can say one guy in a truck should really make about 50% profit if you don't have an office, a studio, overhead, other employees, a ton of insurance on vehicles that maybe you're not driving. There's a lot of different things there that you can look at and say, hey, if I can cut that out, a warranty company might be a great thing. Because think about it. If you give up the advertising and you give up the office help and you give up maybe just a little bit of that profit, you're still keeping 20% as you for a salary plus another 10% for profit. It could add up. That could be a good way to look at it. So one guy in a truck, that's a good way that you could possibly start a business, put a little bit of money up, start building your tools, start stocking your van, start branding, and start getting ready to move up a little bit. Minimum physical strength necessary to get into union plumbing. Chris Luca. Here's the deal. Union plumbing is no different than open shop plumbing. And what I mean by that is the work in the field, you're still going to be hanging pipe. You're still going to be running copper. You're still going to be tunneling under a house. Depending on if you're doing commercial, if you're doing residential, if you're doing new construction, if you're doing service, it doesn't matter if you're union or non-union. The work is the same. I hate when I see that, people say, oh, well, union guys are lazier. They don't work as hard. I call BS to that. I've ran and been on some of the biggest jobs in Dallas, and I've had some amazing plumbers work with me. But then go back, I'll tell you, look, I started out my plumbing career as an open shop, commercial, new construction plumber, and I've worked with some of the best plumbers in the business, open shop. So I'm not going to say one's better than the other. They're both really good. I believe the training program in the union has an opportunity to make you even better, but that doesn't mean that the work is easier one place or the other. Starting out, necessary to get in to plumbing, you say minimum physical strength, and you've got to be able to do plumbing. That's really what it gets down to. I love property management, William. You're right. Property management has been consistent and great for referrals. Property management is really good, and property management can really be good if you can get people to give you recommendations. Even the customer, even though you don't deal with the customer, even though you don't send the customer a bill, say you talk to the customer and you tell them, because that's who you're out building the relationship with. But say you talk to the customer and you build that relationship with them and you tell them, hey, look, we've got a Google My Business page or we've got a Facebook page. Will you please just go on there if you think we did a good job and give us a good recommendation? And guys, that can work. That can help. That can actually lead to more work because people look at those recommendations, and that's a big deal. I'm considering breaking off from my current company and starting my own business. I got my master's license this year. Congratulations. Have most all the tools I need. I just need a van and customers. You know what I'll tell you there, Kyle, is building relationships on social media is a great way to get customers. I'm not real sure about the home warranty companies. I know a lot of them are crooks. Don't mean it bad. It is what it is. I'm not real sure about, Home Advisor, about Angie's List, about the Good Contractor List and all this. To me, all that's people that want you to spend money with them to tell people about you. Man, look what I'm doing on social media. I have quit using Google AdWords. I don't spend any money on marketing through any of those companies. I do social media. And the funny thing is, and I was actually interviewed earlier, and the lady asked me, says, what do you think the biggest difference in what you're doing is and what you were doing is? And to be honest, when I do social media now, think about it, guys. I've got a YouTube channel that's doing well. I've got amazing connections through LinkedIn that have been great for me. And I've literally learned to do this so well that LinkedIn asked me to go speak at VidCon. Video Marketing World asked me to speak there here in Dallas. And I've got big major events across the country that are looking at me as possibly coming out and speaking and teaching residential service providers how to do social media. So there's new opportunities. And one thing that, think about any investment advisor, financial advisor, anything like that, they always tell you, how do you create multiple income streams? And as we grow on YouTube starts paying us a little bit more money. I know that a lot of y'all don't like the ads that they put up and stuff like that, but that's how we make money. And that helps me make a little bit through YouTube, and it does benefit things. So I kind of like that idea. Getting the customers is going to be fun to do. If you haven't seen it, I've got a YouTube channel with my wife called How to Network. I would recommend going over there and checking it out, because in the beginning, when I had no money, but I had all the time in the world, that's how we grew our business. We actually got out and started networking. Now, my wife teaches it, so it was easy for me to learn, but I was always against it. I kept telling her, look, you're out networking all the time. It doesn't work like I think it should. But then she explained to me one time, she says, Roger, look, I teach etiquette and protocol. How many people think they need that every day? Not very many. Trust me, most of us need it. Most of us need it every day. We just aren't cognizant of it enough to call her and say, hey, I need training in it. So what we do is we just say, yeah, you know what, if I ever get in an opportunity where I really feel like I have to have it, I may do that. But people need plumbing all the time. And I can walk an event and go networking, and my phone's normally going to ring 2 or 3 times the next week. So learning how to network and learning how to do it the right way is really, really a great idea. William says, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, let's go to William first, then we'll come back up to Kyle again. William, if you do your job properly, it takes a lot of physical strength to be a union plumber. As a matter of fact, the longer you do and the stronger you get. William, you're right. Plumbing's a workout, man. If you're a plumber doing the right kind of work, you don't need to go to the gym. The funny thing is, though, I always tell people to work out to take care of their body. That way they can plumb longer, safer, and healthier. Man, plumbing can be a hard job. Plumbing can be a very physical job. And that's why I tell people, look, take care of your body, learn how to take care of your body. One of my videos out talks a lot about knee pads. You know, man, if you're going to be on your knees all day long, get knee pads. Old plumber used to laugh at me because I'd sit on a 5-gallon bucket roughing in a commercial bathroom because all the work was, think about it, right there between, 43 inches in the ground. And I could sit on the bucket and work it all. And one of the guys complained one day to the superintendent, and it turned out, hey, look, Roger's getting a lot of work done. Let him keep doing what he's doing. It works. So that's always a good thing. Now let's come back up to Kyle there. How should I start branding and building a company without taking away from my current company? Number one, I recommend don't ever try to steal customers from your company. You may need to come back to work for them one day, and that's gonna leave a bad taste in their mouth, and it's not gonna be good for you. So what I talked about, networking, is huge. Find networking groups in your area. Kyle, where are you located at? Find networking places in your area that you can get out and start networking and start building those relationships now. One thing that was great for me, I understand that real estate agents can introduce me to a lot of people. So getting out and meeting real estate agents and communicating with them and working for them and actually going to their offices and putting on classes, teaching them about plumbing, man, that was fantastic for me. And that really did work well. Brandon the plumber, hello, good to see you here. Let's see. Christ Luca, my huge weakness is math. What type of math do I need to be comfortable starting as an apprentice? Really just starting out basic math. Sorry about that. Basic math. It's really funny because I have people contact me all the time and say, look, I can't get into plumbing because I can't do math. I know a lot of people in plumbing that can't do math. Thing is, you can always carry a calculator. I don't have it in here now, but I'll put a link later in the description. I use a Construction Pro or something like that. It's Calculated Industries Construction Pro. It's a great calculator. And what I tell people is, look, it'll convert fractions to decimals. It'll convert decimals to fractions. You can add fractions to decimals. It is a great calculator to use. That's the biggest part of construction math. Now, when I was teaching in the union, I literally taught, how to figure out how much water is in a cylinder, in a tank, how much does it weigh, what's the pressure. Guys, most of that stuff you never even use. The biggest thing is knowing how to read a tape measure and knowing how to cut straight and knowing how to lay things out properly. Learning to read blueprints is huge. I used to teach basic blueprint drawing and advanced blueprint reading in the union. To me, those are huge because if you make a mistake there, it can cost a lot of money to come back and fix it. Brendan the plumber again, hello, I see you there. You'd be fine with knowing simple stuff like multiplication and converting fractions. Ethan, you're right. Fractions are probably one of the things that you need to know how to add and how to subtract. And really, it's just mainly how to add. It's not even subtract. There may be some of it, but not a lot. It's basic, simple math that really most people can do. Geometry is good for certain things, William, but it's not always required. American Guy, why is it so hard to get an apprenticeship? There's only 25 plumbing companies within a 45-minute radius, and I apply and send my resume and nothing. American Guy, number one, where are you located? But here's what I tell you is go down there and talk to them and say, hey, look, I'm just checking by to see if something has changed. I've got a mini course. If you'll go back and look at one of my other videos about Plumbing School is Open, go through the mini course and find out, number one, what kind of plumber do you want to be? And then start looking for jobs like that. Start learning the basics of plumbing to where when you walk in and they say, well, do you know what kind of plumber you want to be? Yes, sir, I want to be a residential service plumber. And explain why. If you want to do residential service, start watching TV. Who's advertising? What company in your area is actually putting out commercials trying to bring work in? Because chances are, if they're putting out commercials trying to bring work in, they are. And if they're doing that, they need good plumbers to do the work and take care of their people. And that's what they need. So it really is a big deal. If you are interested in commercial, now maybe go look at the big commercial jobs in your area and see what companies are working there. What is it? Bumsy Raps. I'm from the UK and about 6 months from finishing my plumbing course. Do you have any suggestions how to get into work, as everyone seems to need experience? You say you're going through your plumbing course. That gives you some experience. First of all, do me a favor. Everybody, if you're in here now, put down where you're located. I see that American guy. There you go. Central Arkansas. And you know what? I don't know how busy things are around there. And it may just not be a good area. I have people all the time here in Dallas. I like that. Alonzo in Houston. Fantastic. Vegas. I was actually supposed to be out there a few days ago. Got Columbia, South Carolina, Phoenix, Arizona, Lubbock, Texas. Alonzo, let's go back to Houston. I'm fixing to start some networking groups down there because I want to see what the possibility is of me expanding to Houston. And we like that opportunity. William Hendricks is in downtown Dallas. Man, I'm right here in Richardson, so I'm not very far north of you. Colton D, residential plumber in Kansas City. Dennis Conyers, New Haven, Connecticut. Man, I was up there a while back. I drove from New York City to Piscataway, New Jersey, and actually to Boston. So, man, I've been up in that area. I like it. Rick in El Paso, John Kramer. Best prices for plumbing supplies online. John, you know what? There's a couple that I've dealt with. I really like supply.com. The other one is supplyhouse.com. Both of those those are probably the two biggest online plumbing supply places. And I like things about both of them. So that's your opportunity right there. Sorry about that, guys. Got to wet my whistle. Tony Vasquez in Austin, Texas. Man, I love it down there, brother. Got Jose Arteaga, local 761 in Los Angeles. How are you? Man, I'm glad that you're always watching the videos. I'm a member of Local 100 here in Dallas and used to be an instructor. I knew a plumber, actually went to the instructor training program with him. I don't think it was local. No, it wasn't. 761 is in LA. He was actually from San Francisco, 496 or 469, maybe something like that. I loved, man, he was so proud of it. Had his UA logo tattooed on his leg, pipe wrenches behind it. Man, it was a neat deal. Colton, good question. How much plumbing experience would you recommend before starting your own company? Man, I'll give you the truth at what I think, and I'll tell you what I did. The truth at what I think, most people need about 10 years. That's going to be long enough to, I know, and I hear you booing me already, and that's fine. I get it. It's going to take that time to learn everything about plumbing. And when I say learn everything, you're still not going to know everything. I've been doing this 40 years. I still run into things that I have to learn. But I've also decided to be a specialty in certain areas. Here at Texas Green Plumbing, we specialize in slab leaks and leak detection. Me as the expert plumber, I talk about specializing in social media and things like that. Sorry, my dog's out trying to chase squirrels. I specialize in studying plumbing and how to get good at it. And that's whether you want to be a plumber, whether you want to become an apprentice, or whether you want to learn how to do social media. I teach companies nationwide how to network, how to start on social media, how to do video, and enough about SEO so that companies don't come in and rip them off. And I do that because I've been ripped off so many times by so many people. Larkins in Chicago. Man, I skipped right over you. Didn't even see that. Residential plumber in Kansas City area, Colton. That's great. Colton, I'd ask you, what are the licensing requirements? What does it take to get it and get it started and get it going? Some states don't have licenses. So it's really easy for guys there to say, look, I've been plumbing for 4 or 5 years and understand what you're good at and focus on that. There's nothing at all wrong with that. I just like the fact that, here in Texas, thank God the plumbing license is still required. I actually went down and spoke at the state capitol. We had a plumbing rally. If you want to learn about it, you can go to hashtag 71K Plum Strong and what is it? LicensedTexasPlumbers.com and get some great information. I thought I had one more question up here. Simple geometry. Why is it hard? Hello. Rick, this channel is great. 38 years old and starting as an apprentice. How often are you live? I try to do lives Mondays at 5 o'clock Central Time. So it's going to be what? 6 o'clock East Coast, 3 o'clock West Coast. We're wanting to get better at live. This is something we're kind of just getting started to see if people like it, to see if people enjoy it. I love talking plumbing, and with 40 years experience and with my endorsements here in Texas, I'm a master plumber. I've got master med gas, residential fire protection system, water supply protection, all that. I'm also a lead AP. I built some of the, actually Parkland Hospital in Dallas is a 2 million square foot community hospital. That's a lead project. And I was the quality control director over it. So it was a really neat thing and I loved it. From the UK, 6 months, man, Bumsy Raps. I don't know what to tell you about getting experience unless you go to work for a company and just tell them, look, I want to start out at the very bottom and learn and get what experience you can. During the 80s, when the condo boom was going on here in Dallas, I had 3 different jobs one day. I got upset at the job I was on. I quit, went to the one right down the road. I realized that they weren't doing good plumbing. They were just throwing stuff in and it looked like trash. So I picked up my tools, went down to the next job, got a job there and ended up staying there several months. But there was so much opportunity that we could do that. And I was an experienced apprentice helper. I knew what I was doing. This was open shop. I didn't have to ask anybody's permission. Man, I just picked up my stuff and went. And it worked out really, really good. The good thing is I stayed there for a long time and learned a lot of things about apartments and condos that helped me out later. William Hendricks, you got it good right there. Word of mouth spreads rapidly, and you can, if you're not careful, you can get overloaded. William, here's what I tell people about that is number one, word of mouth is the best it is. Doesn't cost you anything. You build relationships with customers. They know you, they like you, they trust you. They're going to tell other people about you. That part of it is amazing. But also remember, word starts spreading. If you don't have a legitimate company set up, you don't have insurance, you don't have bonding, you don't have all that, you can actually get in trouble here in Texas. Now, man, if you've got all that stuff in place and you're good and your company doesn't care, most companies, I love hiring master plumbers. That lets me know they care enough about their trade. They want to learn and grow. The bad thing about it is they're ready to walk out and open their own company. That doesn't bother me. Now, once they become a master plumber and they get their RMP, now I know now they're looking to start doing other jobs. They're wanting to start pulling permits. They're wanting to start getting licenses and permits and inspections and things like that. Now they're competing against me. So at that point, I probably don't want them around. Like somebody mentioned a while ago, I don't want to steal companies from my employer, and it's not a good way to do business. Got El Paso, Hampton, Virginia, Austin, Texas. Do I know Frank Morgan? I don't think that I do. Brendan, the plumber, depends on your comfort level. And that's true. If you've got the license and you can do it, that's great. Tell the SEO rip-off stories. Man, I've had people rip me off so bad. And I call marketing companies OPM marketing companies, other people's money. That's all they want. They want to take money out of your pocket and they want to take as much of it as they can get. So I've literally paid companies to rebuild my web page. I paid companies, let me correct this. I paid companies to rebuild my web page and they made it stop ringing. I paid companies to build me new web pages. They made my phone stop ringing. I paid companies to do pay-per-click advertising and actually increased it because it was working. When I increased it, it died. Well, apparently they forgot to put the ads up, but they were still charging me for it. So there's a lot of different things going on in the marketing business. And the bad thing is, most of the time, we don't even know. That's why I had to learn a little bit about SEO, just to learn what to look for, to learn that if a marketing company comes in and asks you, what words do you want to be ranked for? Well, I'm right here in Dallas. And you put me on page 1 for Dallas plumbing, I'm killing it. Plumbing in Dallas, I'm killing it. The bad thing is, if I tell them that and they spend a lot of time trying to get me ranked for that word, they're not getting me ranked for words that would be easier to do that they could get me ranked for. So I have literally learned how to go through and do a baseline, how to do analytics, to do so many things on my website that it's a great thing to know and a great thing to do. Let me get back in here. What is LEED AP? LEED, which is spelled L-E-E-D, is Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. AP stands for Accredited Professional. It's actually a nationwide certification. It's mainly designed for architects and engineers, but I was the quality control manager on several big projects here in Dallas, including big 2 million square foot hospital. I was doing so much LEED paperwork and LEED information, I wanted to become a LEED AP. I went to one of the vice presidents of the company. I used to work at one of the largest mechanical contractors in Dallas. I went to them and told them I wanted to become a LEED AP. Vice president said, no, you don't. I said, why? He said, Roger, it's a really hard test. It's a test for architects and engineers, made by architects and engineers, and you just can't pass it. He said, I've got 3 engineers that can't pass it. They've taken it 3 times. I told him, look, if you let me take it, I'll study my butt off, I'll practice, and I'll pass that test. If I don't, I'll pay to retake it, and it's not a cheap test. So anyway, he let me do it. I passed the test barely, but I did pass, and man, that's something I'm really proud of. So that's what a LEED AP is, Brandon. Hey, have you ever worked on a LEED project before, L-E-E-D? They're different certification levels, silver, gold, platinum, bronze, things like that. Oscar Morales, hello, sir. How are you? American guy, I saw your apprentice interview tip. Is the free plum study what you were trying to refer me to? Probably so. I recommend everybody just go through that to see what kind of plumber do you want to be. And when people tell me they want to get into plumbing, that's the first thing that I ask them. What kind of plumber do you want to be? Do you want to do residential or commercial? Do you want to do new construction or do you want to do service work? Do you want to be union or non-union? And man, there's benefits to both of those all the way through. But I give people in that little mini course, and it's free, I give people in that mini course enough information to let them make the decision what kind of plumber they want to be. And the reason I say that, look at me. I started out open shop, new construction, commercial. I ended up union, service, residential. So I've done the whole gamut. I've done everything in between. There's not a plumbing job I can walk on in town that I don't understand the plumbing on it. And man, it's not me bragging. It's just, guys, I've done this for 40 years. So I understand both sides of it. And I understand it enough to do pretty well at it. I did residential. And man, here's one of my biggest giveaways. An American guy at 21, no, you're not too late. I just saw that. Guys, here's one of my biggest giveaways. When I tell people, here's what kind of plumber you probably want to be. And ask yourself this, and this isn't even in any of my classes, so I really want y'all to think about this. If you ever thought once in your life that you may want to work for yourself, you want to do residential service. And here's why. Residential service is where you make your highest profit margins. So commercial job, profit margins are good if you hit somewhere, let's say around 10%. And 10% would be a good profit margin. Now, residential service. You should make about 15, 18, 20% profit if your company's doing everything right. If you're operationally excellent, you are doing things right. You should be able to make 15 to 20% profit and you get paid that day. Meaning 9 out of 10 times when my guys go out on a job, they get paid that day when they leave. About the only times they don't is if we're doing a big tunnel job, we're doing a big sewer replacement, a yard service. But even then, we collect 50% up front to help cover part of the cost. So, man, maybe that's another one I should have put in my mini course. What kind of plumber do you want to be, and do you ever want to open your own company? William, I agree. I think union labor is great, but I tell you what, like I said, I've worked with some of the best companies I've ever worked with, or best plumbers I've ever worked with. We're open shop. The two of the first 3 plumbers I worked with are still, I think, 2 of the best plumbers that I've ever worked with in my life. So American Guy, that's probably what I was referring to in the mini course. What kind of plumber do you want to be? I think that's great to know. And man, I'm like you. I don't like it. I love it. That's me. I love what I do for a living. I love plumbing. I get excited. I can't tell if y'all can tell. I get excited talking about it. I have fun plumbing. I have a very analytical mind, so I love the service side of it, trying to determine what problem the customer is really having. So this is just great for me. I really do like it. America Mona, I answered that a while ago. I really think that people ought to have about 10 years before they open their own company. Now, some people learn a little bit faster than others. I know some apprentices that it may take 4 or 5 years to completely understand things. Luckily for me, I kind of got things in about 2 years. So back when it was time for me to get my license, you had to have 6,000 hours. But after 2 years in, man, I pretty much knew what I was doing. And I could run a crew, or I could run a project. Don't get me wrong, they always give me plumbers to work with me. But I could lay things out, make things happen. I could walk into a building and plumb it myself, and that was great. William, I agree that the union training is fantastic. I love the education part of it. Most of the reason that I direct people to the union is the benefits. I like that insurance is paid for the employer. So if you're an employee, it's a great thing. If you're an employer, it kind of sucks. But there's good and bad to both of it. I love the pension. So there's a lot of good things there. Are you thinking of selling a book or some courses on how we can start a company? I am. Actually, believe it or not, we're working on it. That's what the mini course is the very first thing to put out. We've got a basic course. If you go through the mini course, you'll see a link to it. And guys, it's the very basics. It is literally, what kind of pipe is it? How to read a tape measure, plumbing safety. There's a lot of different things. And guys, that's not why I do this live to talk about this. But since I was asked, I was riding with one of my apprentices one day. And I told him that I've had a lot of people reach out that I thought about putting together a course to teach people how to market their plumbing company, how to grow their business through networking, social media, video, and SEO. And not that I'm a master at any of those, but I understand enough of it from our point of view that if I talk to you as a plumber and I say, look, I've sat in that same chair you're in. I've laid awake at night in bed with my wife wondering, how do we make the phone ring? And if you've got a plumbing company and you've never had those problems, God bless you, brother. You're doing everything right. But if you have had those problems, you're the same kind of plumber I am. I started my company because I wanted to do the right thing, the right way, and make a living at it. So I got out and learned these things because I got tired of marketing companies ripping me off. And I'm telling this apprentice this. And remember, I'm a union company, so he's a union apprentice. And I look over at him, and he is looking at me like I'm crazy. And I said, what? And he said, Roger, the union teaches people plumbing, mainly commercial, mainly construction. He said, you are great at residential service. Why don't you start teaching people that? So that's what we made the mini course for, to start out, to see, hey, is this something people would be interested in? So, man, we're looking at that direction. If you think learning plumbing on an online course could be good for you, do me a favor, leave me a yes in here and let me know. I am going to end up doing the marketing class, but I think we're going to do it different. I don't think that we are going to do a digital course. I think that on the marketing, we're going to do a mastermind course where I do something like this, but it's more like a Zoom call where I can look at each person and I can talk to them. And, it'd be a 10 or 12 week course, but that's what we're looking at doing. So, if you're interested, let me know. I'll shout out to you. I want to get back in here early. Ethan Munoz at 20 years and just a year and a half. Good for you, man. I had somebody come in and apply for today. I'm always looking for great apprentices and great plumbers. Great plumbers are really the hardest thing to find, but I'm always looking for great service plumbers here in the Dallas area. I'm union. I pay more. I've got better benefits. There's a lot of neat things about it. It is just really hard to find great service plumbers. Getting in the union training. Ethan, I think I saw on here. Ethan, where are you at? Where are you located at? Positive 23. Any plumbing apprenticeships in Houston, Texas? Yeah. Contact Local 68. They have a joint apprentice training center down there, I believe. I think it's joint. It may just be plumbing. But contact Local 68 down in Houston. They're great. Tell them that you saw me on here and I told you to do it. There are some really good people there. And, I think that they've got a good training program. So it could be really, really wonderful for you. Yeah, Ethan, the union training is fantastic. There's a lot of family-owned plumbing companies around me. I did have an interview before, told the master plumber I was in college. That probably was a big mistake. I don't like college. Yeah, brother, I wouldn't have done well in college. I may have now. I think if I went to college now and tried to get like a degree in marketing or something like that, I think I'd be good at it. Man, when I was 18, 20 years old, I was interested in girls. I was interested in dancing and having fun. And I mean, I'd come in from a bar at 3 a.m, be at work at 7 o'clock. But I was young. I had a positive attitude. I wanted to work hard, but also wanted to play hard. Now that I'm older, I'd look at it a lot different. And I think I'd do a lot better. I think that now being older, I understand, look, I need to focus on the business. I need to focus on building my company. I need to focus on investing money and putting money up. Man, if I could invest all the money I invested in beer, God, life would be amazing right now. But that was a long time ago, and I've changed a lot. So it's a big deal. Does the GM union strike affect our local? William, it really shouldn't. It shouldn't affect us much at all. Now, the AFL-CIO, you always hear stuff back and forth, but no, I don't think it'll bother us. Manuel Rockmom, I've been doing drain service and plumbing on small scale in New York City. I'd ask you, number one, are you union or not? I know the union's big up there. I love a lot of guys from Local 1. Met them in Ann Arbor at the apprentice training center, or the instructor training program, the ITP. And man, there's some amazing people up there. I love what they're doing. I wish that their union was bigger. And I say that because I know of so many people that try to get in and can't get in. I've got an open wall right there that would be great for like a union sponsorship or something. Any of y'all in a union, you need to reach out to them and say, hey, you really ought to check this guy out. But no, I don't think it's going to bother us at all. And I do. I think it's great up in New York. Manuel, I hope it works out good for you up there. 6 years experience. Okay, so Manuel, you got 6 years experience. Tell me something. Are you running your own company? Do you have to have? I don't think you have to have a license up there. I think the company owners do. So tell me what it is you're doing up there. And I see you have your own company. Okay, cool. Sorry, I just got to read a little further down. It's pretty fun though. I hope you're enjoying what you do. Larkins Mechanical. A marketing course will be great. Social media and networking can be intimidating. It really can. But I will tell you this. If you learn to do it the right way, it's really not. And, I don't know how many of y'all heard me a while ago. My wife and I have another YouTube channel called How to Network. And it's great because she taught me networking. And if you just saw her and she's teaching networking from the business end, that can be intimidating. But when you look at me and you understand, look, this guy's a plumber. He does this. He gets out and he does this. I've got plumbers, roofers, painters, landscapers, electricians, HVAC techs, house cleaners. I've got all kinds of people that reach out to me all the time and say, look, how do I grow on social media the way you are? Man, the best thing is it really starts with networking. So if you're interested in networking, give me a shout, contact me, and man, I'll try to help you find networking groups. It's a big deal. Let's see here. Colden, 24, have about 3 years of experience, 2 years of which I worked under a self-employed plumber with 35 years experience. Can't wait to get my master's license, start my own service. Man, that's cool. I love the enthusiasm. I love the desire, and I love people that want to keep training, to learn, to grow. Man, I think that's great. Good for you, man. Chrono 32, do different areas of plumbing get paid more than others? For example, construction get paid more than service. Once you commit to one field in plumbing, is it possible to change otherwise? No, it's not. Number one, they don't always pay the same. I know a lot of unions have a commercial rate and a residential rate. Normally in that case, commercial pays more, which really surprises me. But then again, you could go to work for a residential company and possibly get a spiff program, get a bonus program, get an incentive program. And I know that we're working right now trying to come up with a really good one for our employees. I love the fact that we're union and we have the benefits, but I also want to find a way to motivate them, to help them say, hey, look, I want to work a little harder, a little faster, a little smarter. That way they can make more money. So I'm constantly looking at ways to grow, to get better. And that's a big deal. And Chrono 32, no, you do not have to stay. If you heard me earlier, when I first got into plumbing, I was open shop doing commercial new construction. And now I'm union, residential, and I'm service. So I have completely gone 180 on every one of them. If you look at some of the other videos, I've got one called Plumbing School or something. Click on that. That's a free mini course. It probably take you 20, 30 minutes, maybe an hour to go through the whole thing. It literally asks you what kind of plumber you want to be. And it talks about it and it explains the difference in each one of those scenarios. Residential versus commercial, new construction versus service, and union versus non-union. So go through that, check it out, see what you think. I do have a beginning course coming up right after that, or actually I think it's already started. And it's a digital course, it's online, and it starts out with plumbing safety. And we keep adding things to it. So that one's just getting started though. But if you want to find out what kind of plumber you might want to be, go through the mini course. If any of y'all have already gone through that, please, man, let me know. Did the mini course help you? Did it help you kind of figure out what kind of plumber you want to be? And I talk about that in some of the other videos that I do, but in the mini course, I actually went in depth to explain to people, this is the good and the bad of each part of it. So let me see where we're at. William, man, I appreciate you coming by. I'm glad you came by. I really do appreciate it. Okay, don't imagine me dancing, Scott. Okay, I'm a country dancer like you cannot even imagine. Okay, so Brandon, if you're interested in a marketing course, man, please, go in maybe the mini course or something and leave me a message, because that is something we're going to do. Like I said, it's going to be a 10 or 12 week mastermind deal. My YouTube coach, my LinkedIn coach, I've got a lot of people that have been pushing me for this. They're like, Roger, you understand this better than most marketing companies do. And we've been doing this about 1.5 years, and they're like, look, it's time for you to start helping other people by doing this. So that's something we're looking at doing. Manuel, you are more than welcome. Positive 23, man, any advice I can ever give y'all, man, I love helping people. I love helping people get started in the trade, and I love helping people that want to excel in the trade. My YouTube channel is mostly how-to plumbing. how to do this, how to do that. That helps a lot of homeowners. And it's neat because if you ever go through and read my comments, you can see that a lot of my stuff is I've got elderly people that can't afford a plumber. And one of the best comments, the greatest comments I ever got, guy left a comment. It was on, I believe, the one on how to change out your burner assembly. He had a leak on his house, the trailer park house. Actually, the water leak was so bad, the house shifted, got stuck in the mud. The water heater messed up. He ended up having to change a burner assembly, and he sent me a message. He says, look, I want you to know I'm disabled. I could not afford a plumber. He said it took forever to get the water leak itself fixed, but then when we did, we didn't have hot water. He said, I happened to find your video. I called the manufacturer, ordered the part, and I changed it out myself. He said, thank you so much. Now we have hot water. And guys, if you can help people, if you can do things like that, man, it makes you feel amazing. And that's what I started my channel for. First of all, I wanted to let people in my area know there's a lot of things you can do yourself. And if you're the kind of plumber you get mad because I'm teaching somebody how to change a flapper, man, I'm sorry. But that's me. I want people to understand there are things you can do. And that's part of my course when I teach that, because now that you've taught them how to do that, and you may be the guy in your area, and I teach people how to become that guy. But if you're the guy in your area and they learn stuff like that from you, then when they come into something like a slab leak or leak detection itself, something they can't do, you're their trusted advisor. You're the person that they watch your videos, they listen to you, they know what you're doing, they know you, they like you, they trust you. And guys, that is huge. Get back in here for just a little bit. David, would you say you have somewhat a good amount of free time as a plumber? No. Most plumbers, maybe. And David, you can turn this into a 40-hour a week job. I know a lot of plumbers that work 6 to 2:30. Man, what's his name? Mr. Hendrick. Where'd he go? He had to leave. Anyway, he's a union plumber here in Dallas. And, like I said, I ran some of the biggest union jobs here in Dallas and worked on some of the biggest union jobs here in Dallas. Most of my crews always work 6 to 2:30. And I'm one of these people, I like to start my job early, get in before the other trades, get laid out, get going. My guys were off at 2:30. They were home by 3. They had from 3 till 9 or 10 when they went to bed to enjoy their life. That's what I love about that. It can be a 40-hour job and you can still make a great living. Colin, wish Local 8 in Kansas City was worth it. Yeah, I understand. They hired 3 people last year out of 400 applicants. And it doesn't mean they're not good. It means that everybody's trying to get in and they've only got so much work. That's the contractors. That's them. They need to do a better job at marketing, at getting jobs, at doing a lot of different things. But man, like I said, I wish that the union companies would get bigger, would get better, would get stronger, could pick up more work, and then more people would want to get in the union. But it's a dog and pony show. What comes first, the egg or the chicken, and how do you make that happen? Ringo Hayes, do I use field service management software from a service company? If so, which one do you like? Really, Ringo, the only thing that we use Invoice ASAP. Invoice ASAP is digital estimating and invoicing. I can take pictures. We can do a lot of things with it like that. And that really comes in handy, and I really have liked it. David, yes. If you get a plumbing license in one state, like I'm licensed in Texas and I have a master and I have all the master endorsements. But if I go to Oklahoma, I'm nothing. I'm nobody. Now, I can get in touch with some states first because Texas testing facility is so stringent that Texas has reciprocity with some states. So there are some states out there I could actually just let them know that I'm coming and really probably go ahead and get the license. Now, Texas is probably a little harder to get theirs in because, we are one of the hardest states to test in. But I think that's a great thing. But yes, if you're going to work in multiple states, and I don't know how it works for some guys that are like right on the state border. Like if I lived in Texarkana, you got Texas or Arkansas and Oklahoma. I don't know, would you have to get all 3 licenses? And the answer is, yeah, you probably would. Now, I think some of those cities may understand and say, hey, look, we understand the logistics, so they may not make you that. That's pretty interesting, though. That's a good one to think about. But right now, like if I went to California, yes, I'd have to get a license out there. If I went to Florida, New York, anything like that, absolutely. Combatant rival. Is math a huge part of plumbing? What types of math do you need? And really, it's simple math. Addition, subtraction, maybe multiplication, if you're counting how many fixtures you might need and this, that, and whatnot. To be honest, it's really pretty simple math. Can you add fractions? Can you add decimals? When I was an instructor in the union, I taught that cool plumbing math. If you've got a cylinder this big, multiply by pi, power square, radius, yada, 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 and go through and figure out how many gallons of water are in a tank, 3 feet wide, 12 feet deep. And guys, the math lets you do it. That's one good thing about the union training is they teach you formulas and tips and tricks and how to do things a little bit different. I used to be able to do a rolling offset and just do the math on it real easy. One thing I talked about earlier, I've got a Construction Pro calculator from Calculated Industries that I really like, and it will convert fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions, and you can add all that together. And man, everybody carries calculators these days, so there's nothing wrong with it. Don't let math be a reason that keeps you out of plumbing, though. There's not that much of it really used. You need to learn to read a tape measure, which is something we teach in our basic plumbing course, the digital course. And I don't know if that video is up yet or not, but I know it's close. But those are simple things that you can learn that will help you understand, look, I can do this. Jose Arteaga, is my master license the same as contractor license? What makes me a master plumber? Jose, I don't remember where you're located, but here in Texas, you start out as a registered apprentice, then you can become a tradesman. You don't have to. That's at 4,000 hours. At 8,000 hours, you can take your journeyman exam. If you have gone through a Department of Labor training program, after that, you can get your master's in a year. If you didn't go through a DOL program, I think you've got to wait 4 more years. And then after that, after you have taken your master's, you've actually got to take a course, which is an RMP course, Responsible Master Plumber. That way you get registered as a Responsible Master Plumber with the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners. And that way they understand about taxes and how to do a business and just some different things. So, it's a neat little system, but we don't have a contractor license, or we do, but not for us. It's for general contractors. And to be honest, I don't even know how much of a test or licensing that really is. But that's what we have to do as a plumber. Do I have any contact in New York City? I would just contact local one down there and find out when they hire. It's probably just expired because I think they do that in July or August to try to get ready to start school, because I know school just started. But I'd start contacting them now and let them know you're interested, and that way you're involved and you're part of the system to try to become part of the solution or part of the real system. And I hope that works out for you. So Manuel, for plumbing jobs, I would, man. Here's what I tell people looking for plumbing jobs. If you're wanting to do construction, and if you'll go through my mini course, and like I said, guys, it's free, go through it. It just helps you figure out what kind of plumber you want to be. Residential or commercial, service, new construction, union or non-union. But go through that course and get your mind right. That way you know. And if you're wanting to do service, watch TV and see who's advertising on TV that they're doing service calls. If you want to do new construction, drive by the big jobs where the big cranes are. Drive by any new commercial construction site being built and find out who the plumbing company is on it and go apply there. You'd be surprised how easy it could be to find a job like that. Start looking though. Get on LinkedIn. Find out what company that is. Start doing research on LinkedIn and build connections and connect with the people at that company. See if that can help you get into it. There's a lot of different ways, but man, it is worth it. Lisa, you love my tips. Congratulations. Are you in plumbing? Plumbing Explained. Roger, I'm in the field right now. Brother, good for you. I'm in the studio, but I'm having a great day. There you go. Plumbing Explained. I made $2,200 for 30 hours of work last week. So, my question is, how's your pay set up? Are you hourly? Are you new comp? Are you commission only? How's your pay set up? I'm interested in hearing about that. Sheila G, good to see you here again. Hello, plumbers. Customer here. Absolutely. I'm purchasing a duplex house, hacking it. So I am vetting the trades using a combo of YouTube, online reviews, referrals, and my gut impressions. Good for you. Sheila, I love the fact that, and it's funny because I talked about this on my LinkedIn Live the other day. If y'all aren't connected with me on LinkedIn, I'm Roger Wakefield on LinkedIn. I do live video there twice a week. I do it on Tuesdays with my wife, where we talk about networking. If you haven't subscribed to our How to Network channel, go over there. And if you go to my YouTube channel, I think over to the right on the suggested channels, that's one of the channels that's there. But I do LinkedIn Live with her on Tuesday at 10, and then I do myself Friday. And normally that's just me talking plumbing, social media, anything at all like that for plumbers. I get different people get in there all the time, but I talk about social media and how to grow on it there. And that's really been good for us. Sheila, I'm glad that you are looking and doing research to try to find out, vetting your people. I love that. Let me see. Where am I at? Local 106 for Texas, Houston, I think. Ethan, I think the plumbing is local 68. Pipe fitting maybe 106. I'm not sure, but I know local 68 is plumbing. I just don't know which part of Houston, or even if it's broke up for multiple areas or not. Big Tommy, is there a possibility of turning our commercial shop union? Absolutely. If you get enough plumbers there that want to go union, you're allowed to get together and vote. Maybe even walk in and talk to the owner one day. I mean, you may not want to do it. They may fire you for it. But maybe even, walk in and say, hey, look, what's the possibility? First of all, where are you located? Big Tommy, let's start there because it can be done. Okay, Munoz, you got 67. I think it's 68, but it may be. I hadn't looked it up in a while, but there's no telling. Okay, Plumbing Explained uses House Call Pro. You know what? I've heard about it. I hadn't done it yet. I want to check into it and see if it's better than what I've got. I love Invoice ASAP. I've left to go do a couple of different things that people kept telling me is the greatest thing on earth, and I didn't like either one of them. I keep going back to Invoice ASAP because it's worked really well for me. How can I learn to manage my books, front end practices? I want to know if we're really making money. I go back. I've got a guy, a friend of mine who passed away out of Chicago. He was at Bishop Plumbing, a guy named Robert Milton. And he used to tell us, PYS, prove your shit. I try not to talk like that on YouTube. Anyway, prove your shit. Prove your numbers. Know your numbers. And you've got to know how to budget. You've got to know how to break down an invoice. How much money out of that goes towards labor, towards office help, towards advertising, towards profit, towards overhead, towards everything in there. And you've got to get really good at that. Because if you don't know your numbers, you have no idea what you're doing. Plumbing Explained, man, that is really great. Mark says, I hope you're having a good day. How much more valuable is a plumber if he or she knows HVAC? If you're just a plumbing company, not at all. And the only reason I say that is plumbing companies normally don't advertise for HVAC, so they normally don't get a lot of calls for it. If you're a multi-purpose company, meaning you do plumbing, HVAC, electrical, roofing, garage doors, whatever it is, the more you can do, the more valuable I think you would be. I'm also a certified HVAC tech here in Texas. I just never do it, not at all. But I wanted to do it because I wanted to learn it. Okay, Ethan, I don't know either for sure. How can I learn to manage my books? Okay, we talked about that one. Thanks so much. I hate math, but That's not impossible. And combination rival, combatant rival, you're right. It's not impossible. It's easy to do, and it's easy to learn. So, man, whatever I tell you, whatever you hear, don't let math keep you from getting in plumbing. It really is a good trade, a good career, and math isn't that much a part of it, but it's all stuff that you can learn. It's very easy part of it. Thanks for the advice. What's your preference? Power tool brand? Ethan, I've used a lot of them. I don't know that I have a super strong preference. I think they're all made really well. For certain things, I love Rigid. For certain things, I really love Milwaukee. And a lot of my hand power tools are DeWalt. So, I mean, those are probably the three I use more than any other ones. There's certain things I like about each one. Man, it's just kind of hard to pick a favorite because I use each one of them for a different thing that I've got in that particular brand. So that's kind of hard for me to say, man. Ethan Munoz, I started by joining an agency and letting them know my prior plumbing knowledge and experience based off helping family with their side gigs and reading books. Man, that's a great way to try and explain people you make money. I see that Plumbing Explained put an hourly plus commission. Man, I think that is great. I'm wanting to find a system like that I think works for us. So maybe contact me, let me know what kind of system you're using. Sheila G, show the hard stuff, educate the customer. Show a few crawl space jobs on YouTube. Show the gross stuff, hard digging, the bad patch jobs you have for fix. Refer out a job you can't or won't do. Sheila, that's a great thing to put in there. I know so many people that take a job that they have no idea what they're doing. And I think we can fake it. Fake it till you make it. Guys, that is the worst advice I've ever heard anybody give anybody. What I mean by that is, man, you can mess something up. We got to deal with cross connections. We got to deal with just the safety of the public itself. So, man, I really don't like that fake it till you make it. Tommy, Southeast Tennessee. Steve Huff Plumbing out there by any chance? Anyway, fake it till you make it really scares me. If there's jobs you don't know how to do and people call, number one, know who your friends are in this industry. Meaning I've got companies all around me that I will refer out because when my phone is blowing up and I'm booked and I cannot get to all those calls, we refer people we know, like, and trust. I don't want them to go to a bad plumber that's going to rip them off. But also in that know, like, and trust thing, you start building relationships with plumbing companies that maybe do things different than you or specialize in things. I've got other plumbing companies that call me because we're great at slab leaks and leak detection, and they don't want to do it. And they say, look, I'm just going to call Roger. I'm going to send them to Roger, whatever the case is. Guys, we love that because that's really helped us grow our business. So anything that we can do to help them when I'm busy and I can't. Called one of my friends the other day, one of the people that actually helped me get into plumbing, called him the other day and said, look, my next door neighbor has a water heater leaking. I can't get to it. Can you come take care of it? And he did. And he's actually cheaper than I am. So it's actually better for my next door neighbor. But man, I love these guys and I would trust them with anything and send any job to them because I know they're going to do a good job. So that's great. All right, let me see here. Sheila, I love that. Plumbing Explained, making a LinkedIn tonight and adding you. Man, dude, guys, LinkedIn is great. You can learn a lot. LinkedIn is a great way to build your customer base. It's part of what I teach. And I'll tell you this, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, get it now and start looking at it. Start learning from it. Go to my page. Look at my page. Look at how I built it. Build yours something similar. It works. I mean, I think I've got 7,000, 8,000 connections there now. It may just be 7. YouTube's almost up to 10. I got 20 people in here. I'm going to ask each one of you, please contact 4,000 of your closest friends and ask them to subscribe to this channel. The reason being is, man, that's how we grow. That's how we make money. That's why we do what we do. So if you like it, please go tell 4,000 of your closest friends to subscribe. Just 4,000. Don't go over that. I don't want to ask for too much. Ethan, looking into joining Local 100 or taking CEF classes. I don't know yet. Still figuring out which would be the best for me. Ethan, where are you located? What part of Dallas are you in, or what part of the area? Man, Local 100 is great. That's where I'm a member out of, and that's what my company is signatory to. Plumbing Explained, diagnosing a slab leak while listening to my angelic voice. Brother, I love that. So let me ask you this. You're diagnosing a slab leak. Are you just checking to see if there is one, or are you actually locating it? We love that, and I've got a couple of different brands of equipment I use, and they both want me to start talking about them and helping them sell them. And believe it or not, I love both of them enough that I could do that. And, man, I think that'd be great. But what kind of equipment do you use, and what is it you're doing? So anyway, sorry about that. I saw a call that came in that I can't get to, so I'm hoping my wife's still here, so maybe she can call him back. Mark B, thank you for the information. Much appreciated. You are more than welcome, Mark. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you coming in, saying hi, doing the things that you do. Milwaukee is the new plumber choice, baby. All Milwaukee fuel tools for this plumber. You know, I've seen the Milwaukee fuel, and I'm telling you, it's kind of got an interesting vibe to it. They're doing a lot of neat things over there that I like, but I'm old school. Remember, so I'm still Milwaukee, but I also like rigid. You know, being old school, I really do. But then, you know, DeWalt came out, I'm going to say a few years ago. DeWalt came out. I wish Craftsman was still around. I mean, I know it is. Stanley Black & Decker, man, I'm an old Craftsman guy. Man, there's a lot of good tools out there. But you know what? That Milwaukee fuel, that's got an interesting look to it, an interesting vibe. I really kind of dig that. So that may be a possibility. Let me see. Big Tommy D, Southeast Tennessee. Yeah, let me know if you know of Steve Huff Plumbing out there. I think they're actually maybe outside of Knoxville or something. Maybe something further southeast if there is anything. I'm not sure. Fake it till you make it does not work in plumbing, boy. Isn't that? Yeah, fake it till you break it. Man, I love that. That's great. That's actually really good. Colton T, my shop pays hourly and then commissions on the revenue you bring in. I like that. Fake it till you make it guys are usually cheap, and then the customer ends up calling someone. Yeah, they call someone, Larkins, they call somebody, and then they have to pay more for it, and they don't understand it. And I've had people call me and say, hey, how much will you charge to do this? I give them a price. They call back 2 weeks later and say, hey, you know, I called somebody else, and I don't think what they did is right. Will you still come back and do it for that price? I tell them, no, it's going to be double. And they're like, why? Well, I'm going to have to come in and take out what they did, fix what they did, and then repair everything and make it right and do it like I would have done it to begin with. And that's normally going to take twice as long. And I hate to say that, but normally it's true. Now, I may look at it and say, okay, look, you're not too bad. But, man, fake it till you make it. Just it doesn't work, guys. Yeah. Calling someone else to fix what they messed up. Amen. Dennis Conyers, Southeast Tennessee. I'm looking to move there by the end of this year. Good for you. And there's a lot of good companies there. I mentioned Steve Huff Plumbing. There's some other companies there. Guys, I know a lot of plumbing companies nationwide. So if you ever are moving to another area or looking for another area, reach out to me, communicate with me, shoot me a message, and, man, I'll do everything I can to help y'all. Ethan Munoz, I agree with your Plumbing Explained. Milwaukee is by far my favorite brand. Power for the fact that they're diverse purpose of tools and plumbing catered tools. Man, I love what they're doing. And I just that they're doing a lot of good things. And don't get me wrong, Rigid's changing their game too. Things are improving. Guys, think about the world we're in. It's not what it was when I started plumbing. If you'd have told me when I started plumbing one day I'd be standing behind a counter, a table that I custom built. Thank you. I hope y'all notice this is screw pipe and T's and couplings and 90s. I built all this, but I did it because I wanted something cool and unique. It's fun. I love what we do. But anyway, everybody's up in their game. If you'd have told me 40 years ago when I started plumbing, one day I'd be standing behind a counter talking to a camera and talking to, 25, 35 people. There's 22 in here right now. talking to this many people around the world about plumbing, and they'd be talking back to me, and I'd be talking to them. Man, it's crazy, but the world keeps changing, and everybody's upgrading their tools, or upping their game, and I love that. Ethan, you live in Arlington, Texas, currently working on a major project for TDI. So I don't want to ask you which specific job, Ethan Munoz, but would it happen to be in Arlington? And when this project is done, will the one right next to it be tore down? And if that's the one you're on, you're going to know what I'm talking about. Plumbing Explained. I know Ridgel was the original plumber's power tool. I know you old school guys got stuck in your ways. Roger, try the fuel hacksaw. Ooh. And the impact hammer drills. Man, I'm going to. I'm trying to find, number one, people to help sponsor me on my social media. Here it is. It's, after 6 o'clock. I've been up here since 6:37 this morning. I put in long days here. It'd be nice to find some good sponsors. There's a couple that we're talking about, so we may be doing something like that. And believe it or not, we've always left this wall empty for like a sponsor wall. Meaning if Pure Leaf Tea wanted to be a sponsor, maybe they've got a sign right up here. So we've looked at doing different things like that, and one day I'm sure we will. If each one of y'all will tell 4,000 of your closest friends to subscribe, and my numbers will really go up, see, they may be more interested. Not really, but I'm having fun. So Crap Shack Gaming. Do you prefer Viega or Uponor? Man, different things for different games. I did a Pro Press video in here the other day. I love Uponor. And I got to tell you, I like Uponor because I love the fact that you stretch it out and it's constantly trying to shrink back to its actual size from day one. And I think that's neat. The one thing, and I'm sure I'll catch crap from a lot of y'all, shark bite's not my favorite. I can't tell you how many times we've gone out to jobs and shark bites have leaked like heck. If you use shark bite, do me a favor. Leave a comment down here and let me know why you use shark bite. And I'll tell you the only time that we use them at my company. If it's an emergency and you're trying to get the water to stop, or it's a temporary until you can get back. And even if we put it on as a temporary, we put a note in there. There is no guarantee with this until we come back and replace it. This is not a permanent fix, anything at all like that. So if you use shark bite, please just leave a comment down here and let me know. Here we go. Plumbing Explained. Doing a leak detection. Already confirmed it's a slab leak by a pressure test. Good for you. Looks like there's already been a repair done here on the hot side manifold. Fantastic. Man, I like that. And I don't want to scroll back up. Plumbing Explained. Next time you get a chance, leave me a comment as to where you're at. I love finding people that are good at slab leaks and leak detection because I know so many that aren't. So, man, I love it. That way, if anybody ever calls me from that area and says, hey, I'm out here, I know that I've got somebody. Dennis Conyers, have my own journeyman, S2, and HVAC certs. So what is an S2? Here in Texas, it's tradesman, journeyman, masters, RMP, and there's different endorsements you can add. But what is an S2? I'm not familiar with that. Yes, check into the licensing requirements. Larkins Mechanical. Roger, would my wife be willing to share her front end knowledge? I want to help my husband out and have no clue where to start. I'll tell you what, contact me. My email address, and I've put it out here before, is roger@txgpc.com. Those of y'all that don't know, my plumbing company is Texas Green Plumbing. So if you know anybody in the Dallas area that needs a plumber, that's what we do. And send me an email, contact with me. Actually, it might even be better, connect with me on LinkedIn. Send me a connection request over there. Send me a message in it. Let me know who you are. And, it's all about helping each other. And, man, I love helping other people. So anything that I can do to help y'all, man, that's exactly what we're here for. Piero, What do you think of a second year learning on slab of high rise rather than laying out and hanging pipe in a high rise at this stage? And Piero, if you get it and you can lay out a slab, I mean, if you can lay out underground, if you can lay out a slab, if you can lay, it doesn't matter to me if you can lay out an underground, a first floor, or a 50th floor. You got to know how to pull measurements off of a column, how to lay things out properly, how to make sure they're square, a lot of different things. Man, if you get good at that, and I know plumbers that have made a whole career just laying out underground. I was at one of the larger mechanical contractors here in the Union. I learned to use a total station. Remember, I keep telling y'all, everything's changing. I was using a total station, which is what a field surveyor used to lay out points. And that's what the world's built by. And I learned to use it for plumbing. So I would go out and lay out underground, mark the rough. Then I would come back later and mark the slab where the sleeves went. Guys, modern technology is amazing if you learn to use it properly. And it's a great thing. There we go. DMT, Funky Pants. Don't know what you mean by DMT. Ethan Munoz. Okay, so you know which project I'm talking about. One of the superintendents over is a real good friend of mine. Cool. One of the superintendents over is a good friend of mine. He actually used to work out at DFW Airport, and I did a big job. The company I was at subbed a lot of work from TD. So I've worked with TD, and I actually subbed work from them for almost 5 years when I was at three different previous contractors. TD is a great company to work for. Mr. Jason Smith, hello. How are you? Great to see you here. Jason White, good to see you here again, man. Union like on the relief valve popping on a boiler. See, Jason, I don't even use it for that. I use it for an emergency only. Relief piping, it probably wouldn't hurt. I'm one of these people, I don't ever want to put in something a customer could do just about as easy as me. But man, I understand that there's benefits to it. And different parts of the country see it different. So that's why I always ask. Let me see. CS2 pipe, S2 pipe fitter. Okay, Dennis. Sean P. TV, good to see you here again. How are you, sir? Larkins Mechanical, there you go. Yeah, reach out. Ethan Munoz, actually, I believe the project you're referring to, the old constructive unit, is to be for the other purpose. I believe training and practice. Aha. I thought that was going away, so that's cool. Anyway, talking about one of the stadiums here in town. Larkins Mechanical, you got to get on LinkedIn. Start with personal. Always build your personal accounts first, then build your business pages or anything like that, and you can link back and forth to them. Now, social media is great, and I'll give y'all a really big tip here. If you're not on social media yet, but you want to be eventually, start getting your names now. Meaning, Larkin Mechanical, if your name is Fred Johnson, try to establish Fred Johnson everywhere you can, and work on that. Or if Larson Mechanical is what you're going to do everywhere, try to get that on every social media platform you can. And guys, put a lot of thought in this before you ever start your company, because if you want to be Ace Plumbing, and Ace Plumbing isn't available anywhere, it's not going to do you a lot of good. So learn to think about social media now. Guys, social media is 14, 15 years old. It's all new technology. Start learning about it now. And then 4 or 5 years from now, when it's only 19 or 20 years old, you can be a master at it. Look at what I've done in a year and a half of social media. It works. And I don't know much about it. I'm still learning. But you can learn too. And that's what's going to help you grow your business and help you do better. Let me see where we're at. Ethan, actually, I believe the project, okay, training practice. Here we go. We're not on LinkedIn. How do I feel about PVC versus no hub cast iron? I personally can't stand installing it, but all my customers love it. Okay, you don't want to do which? Man, some people. Anyway, Which don't you like? Is it the PVC or the no hub cast iron? I see benefits to both. So, it can go good either way. Jason Smith, not allowed to use shark bites at all. Good deal. We're not handyman. We're professional plumbers. I agree, but some professional plumbers, and guys, remember, I have a lot of engagement on social media. A lot of you've actually engaged with me on YouTube. I love it. I get a lot of people that tell me, look, I'm just old school. I'm stupid. I don't know. I need to get into the modern times. Shark bites are amazing. And I just don't get it. I'm an old school plumber. I'd rather bust out my torch, flux, and solder and put it together and know it's going to work. I have seen, I just did a slab leak repair here the other day, and it was a house that was recently flipped, and they had literally gone under the shower, shark bite onto copper, ran PEX lines up in the wall. We went under there because there were sewer leaks. And what we found was the shark bite, and we called the inspector. The inspector says, look, it's not allowed, but I'm not going to make them change it because he understood how much money they were having to pay. So anyway, I hope it worked out well for them. I know it did because we fixed it right. And I mean, literally, we ended up taking out the shark bites and running what was right to make sure they were well taken care of. Oh, there you go, Jason. I like that. We don't really use them either. However, use ProPress. Us plumbers didn't like it at first, but customers and building engineers, man. Now, Jason, are you talking about they didn't like ProPress at first or shark bites? Because I have not seen any engineers approve shark bites yet. If you have, I'm really interested in knowing. Okay, no hub cast iron. Okay. Hey, Keen, I agree with you. No hub cast iron, I'm fine with. PVC, I don't mind necessarily. It depends on how you use it, how you support it. Do you do everything right? There's a lot of things. Yeah, ProPress. There you go, Jason. It's funny. I did a video, and I don't know if y'all seen it yet. ProPress versus copper, and I know some of you have because I remember some of the comments. Guys, there's benefits. There's benefits to both. I think ProPress is going to be around for a long time, and I think we all better get really, really good at it. But I do like solder, and that's just me being old school. I still like seal floss. When I'm under a house, that's all I'm putting in. I'm not going to solder it. So anyway, it is what it is. Okay, Sean P. Despite my setback with the Union, Oklahoma City, I'll be in the Union here. Okay, when you say here, where? Is there anything I can do in the meantime to prep? Does that mean you did get into the Union? And yeah, go back and look at some of my videos where I talk about apprentices and how to study and what to do. The neat thing about it is that you can always study. I use the UPC and the IPC study guides. I think they're phenomenal. I wish I'd have had books like that, and they may have been around, and I just wasn't aware of them. There sure wasn't a plumber that I could watch on my phone, or didn't even have a phone like that then. But there wasn't a plumber that I could watch that would tell me, hey, there's ways to study that will help put you ahead. So, Sean, that's one thing that I tell every apprentice wanting to get in the trade is you can actually start studying now. And what that's going to do, it's going to help you learn faster. It's going to help you understand faster. Those of y'all that know me have heard my story. I literally remember driving to work one day, and it was like a light bulb went off in my head. And I was like, all of a sudden, it's like, okay, I understand. And when I went to work that day, I showed up like a normal day. We do our morning safety talk. And my superintendent told me, hey, grab the saw and go over and start cutting Unistra or cutting galvanized pipe for stakes. We used to use galvanized tube, 1/2 inch, 3/4, that would drive in the ground to support our plumbing pipes. And when he told me that morning, I said, hey, can I start topping out the next building? And man, he just kind of turned and looked at me. He said, do you think you're ready? I said, yes, sir. He said, then go do it. I never looked back. And, my thought nowadays is, had I had a plumbing code book or study guide or things like that, and we're working on a video to teach people how to use these the way I do, because I probably use them a little bit different than most. I go through, number one, the answers are in the back. So I go through and mark all the right answers and do it my first day. And then every time I read that book, all I'm reading is the question and the right answer, nothing else. And that way, that's all I'm studying. I'm not studying the wrong answers. I'm not guessing. I am reading the question and the right answer. And I'll go through that book 4 or 5 times. So once I'm done with that, then I'll take that book and I cover up the correct answers. I read the question. And if I don't know 100% the right answer, I mark that question number in pink. Now, after I've gone through and done that, now I can go back through and just read the pink ones. The rest of them I've got. And I don't guess on it. If I read a question and I don't know 100% what the answer is, I don't mark it correct. I mark it in pink. That way I'll come back and study it. And guys, if you do that, you can literally study that book in about a month and know it. Now, when you walk on a job site and somebody says, hey, we got to rough in this tub drain, you know what size pipe it is. When they tell you, hey, we've got to run this vent arm over and stub it out, you know how far you're allowed to run that trap arm. There's a lot of things that, man, if I'd have known like I know now, I'd have been a whole lot better, a whole lot quicker. But that's a studying tip that I recommend that everybody do to help them get better and help them learn more. If you've got a way that you study, give me a shout in here. Let me know. Sean P's wanting to know what can he do to help get better. And Jason, you're right. Read your CBA, your collective bargaining agreement. Know what you're responsible for. Know what your employer is responsible for. And man, and it's union. I will tell you this: everybody gives a union a bad name, and I don't have anything bad to say about being a union employee. But man, learn the book and learn to do the best you can do. And everybody says, to heck with the contractors, it's all about us. Guys, if we don't do good for those contractors, those company owners, they're not going to be around. And when they're not around, the union isn't around. So this isn't a union speech or anything like that. If you're open shop, got a guy here who works for TD. You know what? When you work for TD, you give them 100% every day, and you're going to help TD always compete with the union here in Dallas. And you know what? I can't complain about TD. They're a great company. Bob Lowe, one of the big wigs over there. I've worked with him on job sites. Ben Houston. Oh my God. If you don't know him, man, he used to be one of the best people there. And I loved working with him and loved talking to him about what he did. All right. So let me start working towards getting down towards the end. Jason White, took you 2 years to get in. Jason, and I didn't come up through the union apprentice training program. I came up open shop, got in the union after I've been plumbing for 17 years. And I've been union since then. So, man, there's good things about it. I know both sides, union and non-union. It's just, it was beneficial for me. And apparently it's been pretty beneficial because I've stayed with it. Only time I use SharkBite is to transition from CPVC to PEX if code allows. Okay. Evie Negret, how are you? Good to see you. I want to join the union. I've also how to get my foot in quicker. Been working open shop for 2 years. Man, apply, go down there and talk to them. The union would like people with experience too. It helps because, let me explain the union to you. Maybe the first year class comes in at 60 people. All 60 of those aren't going to make it till the second year. So say only 3/4 of them did. All right. Sorry, guys. So say only 3/4 of them did. Well, now they've got room that they can add people to that class. And if you've got experience as an apprentice, you come in, you're a good apprentice, you got a great attitude, they interview you, they like you, you've still got a chance at getting in. And that could be a good thing. Sorry about that. Somehow I got a dry throat. So let me see what else we got. Oklahoma City, Sean, man, keep trying, brother. Just keep on trying. That one is gone. Sheila G. More homework. Absolutely. No hub cast iron and PVC. Look, they're about the same. Most places will let you use it. Here's the neat thing. If you have cast iron in your wall, if your house ever catches fire, it's not going to burn and put off poisonous gases. CPVC will. That's why, or PVC will. That's why PVC is not allowed in areas where it can be flammable and people can still breathe it. So anyway, guys, it's all getting better. I think PVC is just as good as cast iron in a lot of areas. Most residential is PVC nowadays. I started plumbing in Garland. Not started, but my second or third job was. And I still remember the inspector in the early 80s saying, look, Garland will never use PVC. We love cast iron. But of course, they got around to it. So anyway, PVC, man, I have no problem with it. I see good stuff about it. Sean, I'm glad it helps, brother. Jason White worked open shop for those 2 years. They didn't count as my hours, but got good experience. And that's what Jason, and it meant, or Jason, I'm glad you put that in, because I tell people all the time, look, if you can't get in the union right now, go to work open shop, learn plumbing, learn basics. You may learn ways you don't want to do things. And I've worked with some bad plumbers, but I learned a lot from them. And even if what I learned was what not to do, man, that's an education itself right there. Jason Smith, I'm talking too much, man. I know. I keep waiting for y'all to talk, and nobody's saying anything. I like that. That's pretty good. Crap Shack Gaming, what do you think about doing Studer vents? Man, I don't like them. Okay, but instead of a loop vent. Okay. Now, we've been doing loop vents for years. We've never really had a lot of problems with them. Studer vents are fine, but I have seen some of those leak and cause problems. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it can be a mess. So that's why it's really hard to put a Studer vent in and stay and not, let me correct this. It's hard to put a Studer vent in because you're always going to be below the flood rim level of that lavatory or that sink. So, man, it's kind of hard to get it up high enough like it should be. Will it still work? Yes. But if that sink backs up, can that cause problems? That's where I've seen them leak, so it's a possibility. Cast iron is quieter, Jason. You're completely right. And that's one thing. Whenever I go to houses and they say, I hear water running in the wall, well, I automatically know it's PVC because it is. Cast iron is a lot quieter. One of the most filthiest jobs you've ever been out on. Man, combatant rival, it always goes back to, I used to do a lot of commercial work, and I had to repop a grease trap one time. And man, grease traps are the god-awful worst. The smell, everything about it. It's just, it's horrible. 95 Richie Plumber, 915. Hello from El Paso, brother. Plumbing Explained, going to turn a slab leak into a repipe. Man, it is what it is. Shark bites are a sign of inexperience. And handyman. Yeah, that's right. It jumped on me. Yeah, handyman work. You're right. Jason, I'm actually going to be in Houston probably here in the next few weeks. Like I said, we're going to start networking down there. But sometimes I go down. I've been down and spoke for Local 68 there. They were doing some recruiting about a year and a half ago. One of the big UA members or the director of plumbing for the UA met me down there, and they actually had me go down and speak. They were trying to they had some people interested in the union wanting to get in, and they asked me if I'd come down and speak about it. So I did. So it was good. Shark bites in walls. Yeah. That says hurried in walls. I guess you buried in walls, covered up. Yeah. Man, it's not like shark bites, and that's me. I've seen copper in walls that have lasted years and years and years. So I've seen shark bites that are brand new that leak after a short period of time. And everybody says, well, it wasn't put together right. Okay, maybe not. But there needs to be clear direction. When they start putting shark bites on the Texas State Board plumbing exam and they recognize it as a proper fitting to use, and they start putting it in the engineer report saying, hey, this is a fitting that we allow, then I'll start trying to take it serious. Until then, I'm not even going to. Yeah, there you go. They use shark bites. So Plumbing Explained, is that where they found the leak? See, man, I tell you, shark bites under the slab, they leak. Gee, I might have heard that somewhere before. Ethan Munoz, I give it all every day. Work, show up every single day. The company and its culture overall very positive. Do my best to let that show and ask my boss questions here and there. Ethan, I love the fact that you ask questions. Learn from them. When you ask questions, learn. Make sure you're not asking that same question every day for a week, or you're asking the same question every week for a year. When you ask a question, think about it. Learn it. That way you don't have to ask that again. Man, an apprentice that wants to learn, to me, is one of the greatest things on earth. I love that. Jason, man, if I'm down there and speaking where anybody can be there, man, I try to let people know. We've actually reached out to Houston. I've got people around the country that have me come out and do LinkedIn classes. We've talked to some people in Houston about maybe doing that. So I will try to see what I can do. Plumbing Explained. Yeah, soldering is an art. And man, learn it. That's one of the things we are going to teach in our basic plumbing class, just because I think people should learn the right way, and I don't always think that they do. Ethan Munoz studies the 2018 IPC whenever I can, just reading over the codes and memorizing it. Venture sometimes. Man, understanding everything overall is great, and it'll really help you out. Sean P, going to work. Brother, I get it. I am fixing to get out of here. I've actually gone a little bit longer than I had planned on tonight. But man, I've still got a few of y'all in here, so I hate to leave. If you hadn't done it yet and you like it, guys, please give it a thumbs up. If you really like it, please tell 4,000 of your closest friends about it. Try to get them back here next week. Try to get them to subscribe to my channel. Somebody give me a thumbs up, man. I appreciate that. Michael Draper. I was in Crawlspace the other day where the 4-inch main had Studer vents on Santees laying down with 12-inch sand pipes around every 15 feet. Apparently some plumber installed these a few months ago. I don't know that would be a plumber, but it may have been. Yeah, I couldn't figure out why either. Man, Jason, I'm glad you liked the live. Guys, I'm going to try to do this every Monday at 5 o'clock. I really enjoy this. I love communicating with y'all. I love talking to people from across the country, around the world. It's really neat. Andy just found my channel. Thanks for the info. We'll have some questions for me on the next live stream. Andy, I ask all my new people to make sure you subscribe and tell 4,000 of your closest friends. Okay. Tell them to subscribe. Actually, that's my joke, but I do appreciate it. If y'all do like it, tell other people about it. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. Man, I love that y'all are leaving comments in here. I think it's great. Larkins, look, man, that's what it's about. I love teaching people plumbing. I've got, if you connect with me on LinkedIn, you'll see for the digital course we're creating, I reached out to a few of my students and asked them if they would go to LinkedIn and give me a recommendation as an instructor. And man, I really got some good ones. So I'm assuming if I do another live, y'all would come back. If so, just give me a yes in there and let me know. I'm trying to think what my schedule is the next couple of weeks. I think I'm good for the next couple of weeks. 2 weeks in a row is going to be tough. I've got a course that I'm doing for networking that I'm teaching. Larkins, I'm glad you did. Whenever I get out of here, I'll make sure to connect with you, and then send me a message. Anything at all I can do to help y'all, I'm happy to. Jason, man, I'm glad you like this. Man, I have tried talking to the social media people at the UA. Man, if you know anybody over there, if you just want to pick up the phone tomorrow and call the UA and say, hey, look, I saw this guy. I've watched what he's doing. Man, y'all need to do something with him. You know, any help at all you can give me, brother, Jason, I would appreciate that. I already did it. Thanks again. See you around. Ringo, thank you very much. Sheila G, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You're right. Don't let the fear of math stop you. Plumbing Explained. Customer just bought the house out of foreclosure, had all the bathrooms remodeled, kitchen. They had no idea previous plumbing history. Can't tell if they had multiple slab. Man, as a plumber, I recommend that every real estate agent do a sewer water test. Tell your buyers to do a sewer water test before buying any house there is. Caleb, at the age of 24, man, it's not too late, brother. Not too late. Caleb, I've got a video in here, a class. It's called Plumbing School, something like that. It's a mini course. It will help you determine what kind of plumber you want to be. And if y'all know anybody interested in getting in plumbing, anybody coming in as an apprentice, anything like that, man, point them here. Have them take that mini course. It'll at least let them know what options are out there. And sometimes that's what it is just knowing what options are out there, what kind of plumber can I be. And most of us, I mean, when I got into it, I didn't even know it was there. All right, last one I'm going to read, and I'm going to get out of here. Roger, how many employees are currently working for my plumbing company? How hard is it to manage it? Man, it's really hard. I've got a great CCR. My call center rep's amazing. My wife runs the back office for me. I've got 2 people in marketing that help me do what I do here. They're videographers. They do most of my social media video for me. I do all the comments, connections, and everything that myself. I do all the LinkedIn by myself. And when I say by myself, I don't do it all by myself. They may make video clips for me to post out. But, man, I connect. I comment. I'm the guy standing here. And as you can see, I got my glasses on. You know, does this course I'm offer relative to Canada? Yes. And Jason, and it kind of lets them know about it. I've actually reached out to the Prime Minister of Canada to tell him, look, they're trying to grow the trades in Canada, which I think is great. I've reached out to him to say, hey, look, if there's anything at all I can do to help you, man, I'd love to. Hadn't heard back from him yet, but it is what it is. So, guys, like I said, I went a little bit longer than I wanted, but I have thoroughly enjoyed this tonight. Hopefully, I will see y'all back here next week, and we can do this all again. I'm Roger Wakefield, Lead AP, the expert plumber. I'll see you on the next video if you don't get flushed.